Okay, we're underneath the hood of another first generation Bronco. This thing is really a great looking vehicle. It does have a 302 in it. I don't know if it's the original engine that came in it or not, but it's definitely been massaged over. It has a dual plane Edelbrock intake manifold on it, a vacuum, what appears to be a 600 Holley, electronic ignition on it, high temp coated headers on it, long tube. It has power steering, it has power brakes on it, dual stage master cylinder, also brand new, a proportioning valve, so I'm going to guess that it has discs in the front, or maybe even all around. It wouldn't surprise me if this had discs all around it. But we'll see once we get underneath it for our undercarriage presentation. Original overflow style tank from Ford, brand new battery in it, factory air conditioning. This guy has air conditioning also along with the power steering and power brakes. Windshield washer bottle, 4-pass aluminum, high-grade, high-flow radiator. Definitely not a stock item, but definitely help to keep this guy cool. The condenser in the front for the air conditioning is just as nice and fresh as you'd ever want to find. Does have an oil cooler in the front. I'm going to assume that that's for the transmission. Core support doesn't ever appear to be hurt or twisted or anything in any way. The frame sections of the vehicle, when you look down on it, are just as nice and clean as you could ever hope to find. Set of finned aluminum valve pan covers on it. No leaks evident whatsoever on the valve pan covers, intake manifold, or let me check this pan. No, either side there appears to be no leaks whatsoever on the top part of the motor, and we'll certainly check it once we're underneath it. Inner fender panels are original and totally undisrupted. There's absolutely no deterioration on it anywhere. Everything on the sides and the panels themselves, the inner fender panels, are just as nice as they were when they were released by Ford. This is a nice engine compartment. The engine's going to make a substantial horsepower. I'm sure it's going to be 300. I'm no dyno, but I'm going to guess it's somewhere going to be right around the 300 mark. And certainly enough to push this guy along as fast as you'd want. Everything's nice and flat black underneath the hood, just the way you'd want it. The seals on the intake grates are just as nice as could be. Also, in front of the windshield on the header panel, where a lot of these guys have deterioration, this one still has the original pinch welds on it, which are evident, and it appears to have never been disrupted in any way. It's a great looking engine compartment. I don't see anything at all amiss in this thing. The original equipment type fan shroud on it, and it appears to be, or feels to be, about a 7-blade fan on it. I can't really see it. It's too tall for me to get in there to see. But engine compartment itself is nice and fresh and clean, and real dramatic with the finned valve pan covers and the finned air cleaner lid. Nice shiny aluminum radiator in it. It's a great looking engine compartment. Let's go around the rest of it and see what we can show you there. Hi, you're at Hangsters in Daytona Beach, Florida, and today our guest on the floor is another first generation Bronco. This one's kind of a copper bronze color. I don't know what it's going to look like in the videos, but it's a picture of copper bronze. It has a lot of metallic to it. It's a nice looking finish on the car. Let's go over it and see what we can show you. There's no dents or deviations whatsoever in the hood. The paint on this vehicle is not show quality, but it's above average driver quality. It's a nice finish. There's no fading or fogging or anything in the paint finish itself. The way the hood fits, you have a nice gap on the passenger side, nice tight-fitting hood, and the same gap on the driver's side. You can see where it lines up with the base of the windshield. Everything is lined just the way it should. This guy, instead of having a silver grille, this one has a black one. They went with the copper and black theme on this one. Most of them have a silver grille, I believe, from the factory. It does have Ford written. You can't see it, but there's Ford designation behind it that the letters are painted copper color to match the finish on the vehicle. As are these are usually bright, and they painted these copper color also. Parking lights, nice and clear lenses. Headlights are original equipment style, and they're in really great condition. This front bumper is absolutely, I can't imagine how you could build a bumper any stronger than this. It feels to be at least 1/4 inch thick plate that they fabricated this out of. And it's covered with a bed liner type material, so it certainly wouldn't scratch. It kind of goes down at an angle to give you somewhat of a approach or something, I guess, if you're going to be caught on a hill. It has a worn, I call them fishing reels, I'm trying to think of the real name for it, winch. It has a worn winch on the front of it. It doesn't appear to have ever been used. I think it's more for aesthetic appeal, decoration, than actual usage. At least this person that had the vehicle never used it or never had this thing off-road where he needed to use it. Everything appears to be absolutely brand new. Front end of this vehicle is straight as can be. I don't see anything out of line. Bumper lines up just the way you'd want it to. There's absolutely no deviation side to side or laterally. And vertically it lines up perfect with the alignment of the front end of this vehicle. So this is as nice a front end as you're going to find on one. Everything is lined up just the way it should be. We're going to go down the side and see if we can show you something there. Well, this is the driver's side of our first gen Bronco. Again, you can see the paint on this thing is really, really nice. It's a copper bronze color. Really a great looking finish. Again, our bed liner material to give it a little bit of a contrast. They aren't flares, they're actually the tin fenders, which you can see are original tin. There is no rust on this vehicle, by the way. Side marker light in the front is as sweet as you'd want, nice and clear. The trim around it is really, really nice. Here's where we're going to, you see, the windshield is, there's no marks or anything on it. It must have been a replacement windshield because it's nice and clear and crisp. Original style wiper arms. The blades appear to be aftermarket, but they're also bright metal to match the arms, so it looks pretty good. You're not going to tell it's not an original wiper arm and blade. Finish around the center section below the roof and the main body is done in like a bed liner material, spray on, just like the front bumper was, or the wheel arches here. You know, it's nice contrast for it. It looks like tinted glass in the front. Looking down into it, which you can't see on the video, but where the dashboard transitions onto the base of the windshield, nice and clean. There's no rust or deterioration whatsoever there. Really nice. Also, no breaks or cracks that I can see evident on the dashboard, at least not from here. We'll check it once we get inside. The fender to the door, and I know we're going to have an issue. Every one. There's a little bit of an overhang. The fender is out further than the door. And it's not just this one, it's every one. I think we've gone through, this is number 8, I think. And every one of them, the other door fits fine, the driver's door is always misaligned. And we try to have them aligned, and it just doesn't work. This is the way Ford made these. There's a little bit of a misalignment to it. It's just, if it's not correct on this one, then we had 7 other ones that it's not correct on either. So, that's the way they are. Tinted windows on the side, a little darker, they look pretty good. The whiskers, wipes are nice on the vehicle, and the seal around the side windows is really nice. This vehicle did not come with a set of mirrors. Donnie just put a set on for us so that you have a set of nice mirrors so that you can have a little bit of a view to the rear. Again, the door handle's painted black to go with the theme of this vehicle. Oh, there's something new. I think it's the first one we had with this. It has sliding windows in the roof cap, whatever you want to call it. But these are sliding windows. These do open, or at least one section of it opens. I'm not sure which one. This I know slides back from what I can see. Whether this slides forward or not, I really don't know. Okay, door to the quarter panel. Again, hangs out a little bit on the back. It's in on the front and out in the back. You would think you'd be able to adjust it. Try. We did. Again, the door, paint, finish, nice as you'd ever want to find. bed liner material around the rear wheel arch. Single gas tank in this guy. It has one large tank in the back as opposed to a smaller one in the front and a large one in the back. This one has a locking gas cap on it also. Marker light in the back, trim around it is nice and nice clarity to it. Again, paint on this vehicle is really, really nice. I hope you can tell what color it is from our video. We never know until Devin puts these up what they're going to look like. But it's a copper bronze color and a lot of metallic in it. It's a real pretty color. It is not chocolate brown. 18-inch wheels, a real healthy set of wheels on this thing with some real substantial rubber, nice wide tires. Looks like about a 35-inch tire. I don't know exactly, but I'm guessing at that. Warren lockout hubs in the front. Same company that made the winch in the front. Nice side of the vehicle. It has a lot of character to it. The black wheels with the black accents on the vehicle. Forgot to mention, it does have a painted top, and it has a complete rack on top of this thing. It gives it the look of an Outback safari machine or an African safari machine. You know, this is kind of what you see in the movies that they use with that rack on top of it. And I think that that's the theme that they were going for whenever they built this vehicle. But you got the black and copper contrast, great looking set of wheels and tires. It's a nice vehicle. Let's go out back and see what's there. Okay, tail end of our little first gen Bronco. Again, see the fitment of the tailgate, how nice it is. Absolute flawless trim around the nice shiny yet clear tail light, backup light assembly. Paint on the back is just as nice as it is on the rest of this vehicle. Really, really nice paint job. Can't see it from where you're at, but this trim around this tail light and the lens itself is just as sweet as you'd ever want to find. Again, the theme with the smoked glass and the bed liner material on the rear hatch of this guy. The back bumper, same deal, bed liner material and a very, very substantial bumper on this thing. Now the other ones that we have always had a fixture to put a spare tire on the back, but it swings off, it's hooked on to the side of the quarter panel, and it latches onto the tailgate. If you would put a tire that weighs as much as this on one of those other ones, I can't imagine how it wouldn't break off. This one is mounted to a real substantial bracketry that is welded to this heavy-duty bumper on the back, so it does swing out. They're 285, 65, 18, so they're a little bit shorter, but a lot wider sneaker on this guy than a lot of the other ones that we had. Again, a spare tire on the back. It's great. How do you jack it up? There's not a jacking that I know of, unless you get one of those ones that is this tall, that you could go ahead and jack this vehicle up 2 chains to spare if you really needed to. So you got an extra tire that's on the back. What you're going to do with it, I have no idea. But again, it probably goes with the theme of the vehicle. It probably goes with the fact that it does add a lot of aesthetic appeal to it to see that 5th wheel on the back of this. But the back end of the vehicle, the bumper alignment, the paint, the fit, the finish. Let me check the gap. Okay, gap on this side is the same it is on that side. It's just as straight and nice as can possibly be. Great rear section of this vehicle. Really, really nice. Let's see what's on the last side. Okay, our last side of our first gen Bronco. Again, the bed liner material that transitions the whole way around this vehicle in that center section between the roof section and the main body of the vehicle. Also, I forgot to mention, this rack on top, which is a really substantial heavy-duty rack, is also done in that black bed liner material finish on it. So there, you know, it's not going to scratch if you put something up there. It's something that it's a pretty substantial rack. Definitely looks like a safari machine with it on there. Again, a sliding window on the side, which is tinted. Paint on this guy is really nice. It's really, really nice. Back to the, and this is all tint too, by the way. This vehicle, which you'll see in our undercarriage presentation, it doesn't have any Bondo in it. It's not something that's been repaired. It's a really, really nice, solid, all-tin vehicle. Now this door fits a lot better None of these have the fitment of you know, a really good e-body car, a Camaro or something of that nature. They've never had that type of fitment. But this is typical of the fit of the doors on these vehicles on the right-hand side. The driver's side, again, you got to write forward on that one because I have no explanation for it. This is number 8, and they're all the same. Again, black door handle, window trim, the seal around the window itself, really, really, really nice. Wing area the same way. Again, another mirror, which you got to have on the right-hand side. Nice, clean, crisp looking front window, windshield in this guy. Door itself, again, the fitment is real nice down to the rocker panel, and much nicer onto the front fender. Also, I neglected to mention, but you're going to see in the video anyway, it does have a strobe stripe on it, you know, that kind of breaks up all this copper color on the side. So you have that flat black and then copper, and flat black and then copper, and then flat black strobe stripe on it, and then copper with the flat black accents on it. Same deal as tin. Nice marker light in the front to match the other 3 that we had. And we're back where we started again. It's a great looking vehicle. These first generation Broncos are really, really difficult to find. And at this point we have 3. Normally we're lucky if we have 1 in the building, and they don't last very long, but at this point we have 3 of them. All complete different characteristics. They have all different appeal. One is a top-end, very high-end show quality vehicle. The other one has a convertible top on it. This one has a safari-type look to it. So you have 3 different complete characteristics of these first-generation Broncos. They're all available here at Hanksters. We're going to do the rest of the presentation on this so you can see the undercarriage, the drive, and the interior of this vehicle. We encourage everybody to come down and take a look, especially in this case. You got 3 of them to look at, not 1, you got 3. Where else are you going to go and find 3 of these that are totally different? The amenities, the characteristics of all 3 are totally different. You may come down to look at this one and see the blue one and fall in love because it has a convertible top on it. And then you might want to spend a lot more money and buy the one that's an absolute show quality vehicle. But if you don't come down, you're not going to be able to look at all 3 of them and go over them and make a decision. However, we're presented this as well as we can. We're going to show you every little tiny minute detail that we can on the vehicle to give you all the ammunition that you need to go ahead and make a decision in your purchase. But it is here, along with 2 other ones at this point. Hanksters, Daytona Beach, Florida. Well, we're inside of our copper bronze first generation Bronco. This thing is really a neat vehicle. It has a lot of different characteristics as opposed to the other 2 that we have. Fantastic vehicle. This guy has a console with it and cup holders. How about that? Has a set of custom interior seats in it. It does have a rear seat, a black rear seat in it. Seat belts in the front, seat belts in the rear. Bed liner material, black bed liner material on the inside of the hardtop itself also. The floor is done in a copper bronze bed liner material, so you don't have to worry about scraping or scratching anything in this guy anywhere. It has the factory air conditioning system, from what I can see in it anyway. It definitely has air conditioning. It has an aftermarket radio in it. All the knobs are nice and clean and clear and crisp in it. Aftermarket gauge cluster. Be interesting to see if that guy works. And we'll find that out on our drive video. But it does have an aftermarket gauge cluster in it. Everything is dark now, so I'm sure it's going to be a digital display. There's some kind of a, I don't know what it is, a pickup here. It must be something for the radio. Maybe it's a some kind of special radio. I don't know. There's also a little microphone here for something. I'm sure Devin can tell you exactly what every one of these little components does, but I absolutely have no idea. Automatic on the steering column. Custom wheel. Check this out. Copper bronze paint on the split spokes on this guy. And it's a real wood wheel too. It's not plastic. It's real wood. Fantastic looking vehicle inside. Black accented door panels with the original style armrests on them. What else to tell you? It has a conventional shifter in it for the transfer case, high and low range. Original equipment sun visors on it. Everything in this vehicle is very, very clean. It looks like a brand new vehicle inside. There's no marks or anything on the floors. There's no marks or scuffs or anything on the dashboard. The interior literally is as new as you'd ever want to find. There's a little tiny split. I couldn't see it from outside, but a little tiny bit of a split here, about the size of a thumbnail lengthwise, but I can't get my thumbnail in it. It's there. You can see it, but you can't really do anything about it. And a little tiny mark here, and I have no idea what that's from. But other than that, the rest of this dash is absolutely flawless. Certainly nothing there that would dictate that you would replace this dash pad. There's absolutely no reason to. You can't really even see it unless you really have to look for it. Rear view mirror in this one is nice and clean and clear. And it is a day-night mirror also. It's really nice in here. It's smoked glass all around. It has a nice seating area. The seats really hold on to you too. They have some nice bolsters on them. They're almost like what you'd expect to find in a Porsche or a Ferrari. They're that type of seat. And they do have an adjustment to them also. Nice interior, really great interior. I don't see anything at all that would deter you from making a purchase on this one. But you got two other ones to look at too, don't forget. Daytona Beach Hangsters. We have a vehicle that's definitely in need of fuel. It shows empty, but Devin and I are going to take a shot, go for a ride anywhere. 13.4 volts is charging. Oil pressure is 51 pounds. Water temperature is 175 degrees. RPMs is, you can see it's working as it should. Idles about, where is it? It's a grand there, 900. And obviously the mile an hour is zip because we're not going anywhere yet. Let's see here. Wipers. Wipers function as it should. Okay, turn signals. Turn signal left, functioning as it should. Turn signal right, functioning as it should. Horn works. We know the wipers work. What's really neat is this is a digital display and it's in bright fluorescent blue. And also the radio's in bright fluorescent blue. They haven't figured out how to work it. I guess this is part of the colored teeth that you get with the radio. Devin says that works. This is the antenna actually for the radio. It does pick up some FM stations. It's looks like a pretty high-end radio. What is it, Kennywood or something? Radio functions as it should. Air blows cold. Just on for those few seconds and it's getting colder and colder and colder. So we know the air functions as it should. Alright, let's go for a ride, see if everything else functions as it should. Okay, the speedometer is working just like it should. We're up to 30-some miles an hour. And we're going down the road. Car shifts nice and firm, nice and crisp. Steering's actually very tight. Some of these are a little bit loose. Here, no, we're going up this hill yet, and everything pulls to the right on this hill. But there's no hands on the steering wheel. And we're still going straight, and still no hands on the steering wheel. Still haven't touched it. Let's try it now. Brakes, no hands. Let's see what we got here. Brakes, no hands. And we stopped just straight as an arrow. I think that's surprisingly well. We have a lot of stuff for a 302. Very strong running vehicle. Nice tight steering. I can't believe how tight that is. First gen Bronco here. exhaust sounds really good. I was surprised. It's 2 into 1, but it has a nice throaty sound to it. Straight as an arrow vehicle, though. Everything goes as it should. Hopefully we're going to make it back with no fuel, but you can see, I mean, this thing's just a straight and arrow vehicle. Yeah, I mean, it's real tight. The steering's very precise. It doesn't really wander. Nice vehicle. Nice running. Well, we're underneath of our copper bronze first generation Bronco. Third one we got that we're going to present to you. We got a white one, a blue one, and now this copper bronze guy. Totally different characteristics of all three of them. Neat vehicles, all of them though. All in their own right. This particular one, like the other ones, has its a 302 V8 engine in it. It's a fresh rebuild on the motor. Everything on it's fresh from on the top end, and it looks like the motor's been out and completely done. It's got a deep pan C4 tranny in it that goes to the transfer case. And if you look, you'll see there's no leaks or anything on the rear end, or the transfer case, or the transmission, tail shaft, or the engine. Everything looks really, really straight and nice on the vehicle. It has a new upgraded starter on it. It has the original style cooling lines that go from the transmission to the radiator that's in this vehicle. A huge set of calipers on the disc brakes in the front of this, and the rotors themselves are nice and clean. You'll see in the still photos that Devin shows you of this vehicle just how nice the rotors are on this. It does have a lift kit on it. It has a huge set of front shocks that coincide with the longer front springs that are on this vehicle. The floor pans are just as nice and sweet as you'd ever expect to find on any vehicle, let alone a Bronco. This thing's as nice a one as you'll ever find. And it doesn't appear to have ever been done. The floor looks to be original. The rocker panels look to be original. Looks like a rust-free vehicle. Does have Ford's full box frame. It's an entire perimeter frame on these vehicles. Gives it a lot of structural rigidity, a lot of strength in these guys. Huge swing arm front suspension. You couldn't bend one of these things if you tried. And I'm sure some people have. I don't see anything at all on this front end that's a detriment to the vehicle. Everything appears to be as nice and new or replenished or refurbished from when it was new. It appears to be stainless steel brake lines that go to new brake hoses, brake hardware for the calipers. There's an electric pump in line. It appears to have the original brake lines going toward the rear. Fuel lines that have been replaced with a flex line going to the front of the engine. New oil filter on it, new oil just put in it. We're halfway through it. I don't see anything really. It has a set of long tube headers on it. They appear to be a small tube, 1.5 inches, I'm going to call them. And they go into about 2 1/8 inch primary pipes heading off of the header system, going to 2, I'm going to call them resonators. They look like 2 shorty glass pack mufflers that transition into a conventional muffler that's mounted vertically instead of horizontally. And then again about I'm going to call it a 2 1/8 inch pipe going out. So it has a real substantial exhaust system on it. You can see the undercarriage of this vehicle is just as nice and fresh as you'd ever want. There's absolutely no deterioration, no rust, absolutely no rust. On the drop downs in the sides of the vehicle, the rocker panels, the floor pans themselves, the floor in the back, the frame itself is just as smooth and nice as it was the day it was made. Nice looking vehicle. We're halfway through it. Let's see what the other half shows us. Okay, second half of our first gen Bronco. You can see the rear suspension on this has a real nice arch to the springs. They're nicely stacked. It looks like there's about at least 6, maybe even 7 leaves. At least 6 though, leaves on a nice nicely arched leaf spring suspension for the rear. It does have the razor blocks also in the back above the axle. Disc brakes in the back. It has huge discs in the front, and this guy has discs in the back. Rotors don't have any cuts or marks or scratches in them whatsoever. Real nice set of brand spanking new calipers on it. and a huge set of shocks to coincide with the ones up front. We got a really big set of shocks on the back of this guy. One gas tank. It does not have the side tank in it. This one just has one in the back, and it appears to have a skid plate on it that has no marks whatsoever in it. It's either a skid plate or, let me look at this again. No, it's the tank itself. It's a solid built heavy steel tank for the rear of this with a drain plug in it if you ever need to drain the fuel out of it for one reason or another. Spring arches in the back, shackles in the back are just as nice and fresh and clean as you could possibly ever get on one of these vehicles. Heavy duty 9-inch Ford rear end that you couldn't break if you tried. I can't see anything at all under this thing that's out of line. Everything is just as it should be. You couldn't ask for a cleaner vehicle underneath with a lot of originality. The tin appears to be all original. It doesn't appear like it's had any floors put in it, or pans, or quarter panels, or lockers, or anything in it. Everything still appears to be original on the vehicle. At least to me it does anyway. You can see that the drive line's nice and fresh. The exhaust system's nice and fresh. No rust whatsoever. There's no leaks on the transfer case. It's a nice vehicle underneath. You couldn't possibly get anything any nicer or any cleaner than this vehicle is. It's one of the three at this point that we have available here at Hangsters. Just three complete different personalities than the three that we have. This guy gives you more of a safari type look. It's copper bronze with a lot of like semi-flat black accents on it. The wheel arches, the rack on top, the around the windows, the wheels themselves, door handles, everything is semi-flat black. Great looking vehicle. We're going to go for a test ride and we'll see what works and doesn't on the dashboard for you, and you can see how it runs. But it's available here at Hangsters.